Ms. Rahayu, Mahzam.
Mr. Speaker, when the Protection from Harassment Act, POHA, was first introduced, it was welcomed as there was a need to provide a range of remedies against harassment, including sexual harassment, cyberbullying, and even online stalking. I note that since POHA came into force in November 2014, there have been more than 1,700 prosecutions and over 3,000 magistrates' complaints. These numbers reflect that the Act had been well utilised over the few years. I am therefore happy to hear that there will be enhancements to the Act. In particular, I am happy to hear that there will be an establishment of a specialist court, the Protection from Harassment Courts, PHC, to oversee matters under POHA. Going through the court process can be very daunting for laypersons. It is therefore imperative that processes are kept simple and timelines are expedited. It would help if the PHC becomes a one-stop shop where victims of harassment can get support with the court proceedings and even help with counselling or enforcement procedures to ensure a meaningful remedy under POHA. I hope this is what is envisioned under this bill. The harsh reality is that any order made under POHA will be a paper order. Whether it truly affords protection will depend on whether there is support by the whole ecosystem, the police, the court staff, social workers. It is therefore important to provide holistic support to the victims. In this regard, I would like to ask if there are any measures in place to ensure that victims of harassment and abuse are given sufficient assistance when they approach the courts. I would also like to make reference to the judge-led approach at the family justice courts. Basically, one judge oversees all matters relating to the same parties, and it allows for the judge to have holistic understanding of the parties' case. The judge-led approach also allows the courts greater control over proceedings. I would therefore like to know if there are plans for the PHC to employ the judge-led approach. At this juncture, Mr. Speaker, I would like to continue my speech in Malay. Kedatangan teknologi telah merubah cara hidup kita. Media sosial telah menjadi wahana penting untuk kita berkomunikasi dan berhubung antara satu sama lain. Pelbagai interaksi berlaku di media sosial sehinggakan wujudnya satu ekosistem dan dunia lain di talian. Ia menjadi tempat untuk kita belajar, berbincang, berniaga, mencari jodoh dan sebagainya, dan kini juga wujud norma-norma tertentu dalam alam siber. Penting untuk kita pastikan bahawa nilai-nilai kehidupan bermasyarakat terus kekal terpelihara dengan adanya peraturan tertentu dalam talian. Segala perbuatan buruk yang tidak boleh kita terima di dunia luar sepatutnya juga tidak boleh diterima di internet. Pada pendapat saya, peraturan dan etika tertentu boleh wujud melalui pendidikan kepada semua pengguna internet. Namun kita tahu bahawa kadang-kala perlu adanya perundangan dan pengawasan untuk memastikan semua pengguna mempamerkan kelakuan baik di internet. Antara perkara yang ditimbulkan dalam rang undang-undang hari ini adalah perbuatan doxing. Ini adalah istilahnya merujuk kepada perbuatan mencari dan mengumumkan informasi pribadi tentang seseorang, biasanya dengan niat jahat terhadap seseorang itu. Ini adalah satu trend yang semakin berleluasa di internet. Biasanya ia berlaku apabila seseorang individu itu melakukan sesuatu yang tidak boleh diterima masyarakat umum dan informasi ini menular di internet, biasanya dalam bentuk video. Beberapa orang lain yang mendapat informasi itu mungkin merasa cukup terkesan dengan apa yang berlaku dan terus mencari tahu informasi tentang individu yang dianggap bersalah itu. Informasi tentang namanya, tempat tinggalnya, di mana beliau belajar atau bekerja kemudiannya dipamerkan kepada masyarakat di internet dengan niat untuk memalukannya atau mengajak orang lain untuk sama-sama mengutuk perbuatan individu itu dan membalas perbuatannya. Dengan perubahan undang-undang, hal ini adalah satu kesalahan di mana yang didapati bersalah boleh didenda atau dipenjara. Mungkin ada yang akan bertanya, apa yang salah tentang doxing ini? Mungkin mereka rasa tidak salah untuk menegakkan kebenaran dan membalas perbuatan jahat seseorang itu. Saya rasa kita perlu jelas tentang keburukan yang boleh timbul melalui doxing. Apakah niat kita jika kita beri masyarakat umum informasi pribadi tentang seseorang? Apa yang kita harap akan berlaku dan apakah kesan kepada individu itu dan keluarganya? Adakah ini kelakuan yang sihat yang ingin kita lihat di internet dan di dunia nyata? Bayangkan, sekiranya kita gunakan contoh di dunia nyata, kelakuan doxing ini seperti mencetak gambar-gambar individu dan informasi pribadinya dan diletakkan di peti-peti surat orang ramai. Juga seperti mengambil cat dan mempamerkan informasi tentang individu itu di dinding-dinding tempat awam, memberitahu semua orang tentang perbuatannya. Saya rasa doxing itu bukan kelakuan yang baik dan bercanggah dengan norma-norma kehidupan bermasyarakat. Maka itu saya amat menyokong saranan dalam rang undang-undang ini berkenaan doxing. Mr. Speaker, in English. For the reasons set out in my Malay speech, I am supportive of the proposed amendments in relation to making doxing an offence. I feel that if a certain conduct is unacceptable offline, it should not be permissible online. I would, however, like to seek clarification of the application of the new laws. I believe many internet users especially may want to know if they are committing an offence given the prevalence of such acts online now. To be made an offence, there must be intention to cause harassment, alarm or distress to the target person. Would an individual who has published the details about the target person, but without making any further statement urging action to be taken against him or her, be able to argue in defence that there was no intention to cause harm, but just to share information? What if the individual was not the one who created the publication in the first place and was just forwarding the information? I'm also curious as to how enforcement will take place. What if numerous people have shared and forwarded the information with malicious intent? Will the police and prosecutor be pursuing every individual involved? Further, could there be possible challenges of preservation of evidence, for example, if comments or information were shared on Instagram through Insta Stories? I would be grateful for the clarification on the matters above. Mr. Speaker, new norms have developed with the pervasive use of the internet and interactions in the online space. There is therefore a need to regulate behaviour online. Harassment, online or offline, is not acceptable behaviour. It impinges on personal rights of an individual and can have severe repercussions to the victim's physical as well as mental well-being. I appreciate that this needs to be balanced with the need to ensure that the process is not abused and no unduly harsh penalties are imposed. I believe the enactment of laws need to be coupled with public education, and I hope we will continue with this effort to build a better community online and offline. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding my comments above, I support this bill.